How long did it take the United States to surpass Britain? One number is often mentioned: 122 years. In 1776, the United States declared independence. By 1898, after the Spanish-American War, the country had moved far beyond its own continent and began to look like a true global power. Between independence and overseas expansion, there were 122 years. But the number itself is not the real story. The deeper story is the path behind it. A rising country does not replace an established global power simply because its economy becomes larger. It must build industry. It must accumulate capital. It must control trade routes. It must develop military reach. And eventually, it must gain the ability to shape global rules. Without those layers, GDP alone is not enough. That is exactly what happened in the American rise. After the Civil War, the United States entered a period of explosive industrial expansion. Railways pushed west, steel mills expanded, coal, oil, machinery, finance, and mass production grew together. America was no longer just a young republic. It was becoming an industrial machine. By the 1870s, the US economy was already catching up with Britain in size. But Britain still had the pound sterling, the global shipping network, colonial markets, and the Royal Navy. America was already big, but Britain was still the center of the global order. That is why economic size was not enough. By the 1890s, US industrial output had moved ahead of Britain. Steel, coal, oil, machinery, and manufacturing capacity gave America a new kind of power. Then came 1898. After the Spanish-American War, the United States gained overseas positions including the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico. The world could now see the shift clearly. America was not only rich, it was beginning to project power. That is what those 122 years represent. They were not just years of growth. They were years of industrialization, capital formation, military expansion, and global positioning. Now look at China. If we start from 1949, modern China's rise has taken just over 7 decades. If we start from 1978, when China began its reform and opening process, the period is even shorter, a little over 4 decades. Compared with America's rise against Britain, China's rise has one very clear feature. Time has been compressed. The key difference is the speed of industrialization. Around 2010, China became the world's largest manufacturing country by value added. That was a major turning point. America's industrial catch-up took nearly a century. China, measured from the beginning of reform and opening, reached the top of global manufacturing in just over 3 decades. This was not a small change. China did not become strong in only one industry. It built a broad manufacturing system, from textiles, home appliances, smartphones, and consumer electronics to ships, rail equipment, construction machinery, industrial systems, electric vehicles, batteries, solar panels, and energy storage. China developed scale across almost every major category. The most important point is not that China is strong in one sector. The point is that the chain is complete. In global industrial competition, one breakthrough can create temporary advantage, but a complete supply chain creates resilience. If a country can produce components, organize suppliers, assemble final products, scale production, and upgrade quickly, its position in the world economy becomes very different. That is the foundation of China's manufacturing power. The United States still has enormous advantages. It has the world's deepest financial markets, leading technology companies, strong universities, military reach, alliance networks, and influence over global institutions. These strengths should not be underestimated. But if we focus on physical production capacity, China has reached a very different level. China's advantage can be described in 4 F words. Scale, speed, completeness, and iteration. It can produce at massive scale. It can connect suppliers quickly. It can build across complete industrial chains. And it can improve products at a very fast pace. Together, these factors make Chinese manufacturing extremely powerful. The GDP comparison is more complicated. By purchasing power parity, China's economy surpassed the United States around a decade ago. This measure does not focus only on exchange rates. It looks more closely at real purchasing power and actual production capacity. In simple terms, it asks how much a country can produce and how much its people can buy inside its own economy. But by nominal GDP, the United States remains larger. Nominal GDP matters because it reflects exchange rates, financial valuation, global capital markets, and pricing power. It is connected to the role of the US dollar and the depth of American financial markets. So, the China-US comparison cannot be answered with only one number. By purchasing power, China has already crossed one line. By manufacturing scale, China has crossed another. By goods trade and supply chain completeness, China has major advantages. But by financial power, global currency dominance, military alliances, and rule-setting capacity, the United States remains ahead. This is the real state of the competition today. China has already surpassed the United States in some critical areas, but it is still catching up in others. The next phase will not be decided only by old industries. It will be shaped by new energy, electric vehicles, solar panels, wind power, batteries, and energy storage are changing global manufacturing. Whoever controls the production of next-generation energy equipment will have an advantage in the next stage of industrial growth. China's electric vehicle industry has grown at extraordinary speed. China is not only the world's largest EV market, it also has one of the most complete EV supply chains. Batteries, motors, power electronics, charging equipment, vehicle assembly, software systems, and component suppliers are all connected inside a highly competitive ecosystem. This gives Chinese EV makers a structural advantage. Solar is even more important across polysilicon, wafers, cells, and modules. Chinese companies hold dominant positions in many parts of the global solar supply chain. That means as countries build solar farms, reduce energy costs, and accelerate the energy transition, China's manufacturing system becomes difficult to bypass. The same logic applies to wind power, batteries, and energy storage. These are not just export products. They are the infrastructure of the next energy age. In the past, oil, gas, shipping, and finance shaped global power. In the future, batteries, solar modules, grid equipment, energy storage systems, and smart manufacturing may become new sources of influence. That is why China's rise is not only a GDP story, it is a story about the structure of global industry. Trade flows are changing, and influence follows trade. When more countries buy Chinese cars, smartphones, solar panels, industrial machinery, telecom equipment, and components, their economic relationship with China becomes deeper. Behind trade comes supply chain dependency. Behind supply chain dependency comes standards, finance, logistics, services, and technology ecosystems. Great power influence is rarely declared in one dramatic moment. It usually spreads through ports, railways, power stations, industrial parks, factory orders, technical standards, and long-term trade contracts. So how long will it take China to surpass the United States? There is no clean single year. If the question is manufacturing capability, China has already made the key leap. If the question is goods trade and supply chain completeness, China already has global scale advantages. If the question is clean energy manufacturing, China is already one of the most important players in the world. If the question is purchasing power parity GDP, China has already surpassed the United States. But if the question is full global leadership, the answer is not settled. A complete great power transition depends on several harder questions. Can China continue to create original technological breakthroughs? Can it build financial markets with global pricing power? Can its currency be widely held and trusted around the world? Can it support global influence with security capacity? Can it help shape international rules and standards? In these areas, the United States still has deep advantages. Britain did not lose its position to America only because America built more factories. It lost ground because new industry, new finance, new military power, and new global markets changed the structure of the world. China's rise will also not be completed by manufacturing scale alone. Manufacturing is the foundation, but it is not the final stage. The difficult part is the second half. The first half is about factories, production, trade, infrastructure, and scale. The second half is about innovation, capital markets, currency trust, global rules, and international confidence. That is why China today should be understood with balance. It is already extremely strong in physical production and industrial capacity. It leads or competes at the top in many sectors, but in the full meaning of global power, the competition with the United States is still ongoing. America took roughly 122 years to move from independence to global power. China's rise has been much faster. Its industrial scale is larger, its supply chains are deeper, and its role in global manufacturing is more central. But the world today is also more complex. Technology barriers are higher. The financial system is more mature. Geopolitical resistance is stronger, and global trust is harder to build. So China surpassing America will not be a single event on one specific day. It will be a process. You will see it first in manufacturing, then in trade flows, then in electric vehicles, solar panels, batteries, energy storage, and infrastructure. Only later will the deeper changes appear in finance, technology, rules, and global influence. The road is not finished, but the direction is already visible. In the lights of factories, in the cranes at ports, in electric vehicles shipped across oceans, in solar panels installed around the world, and in the growing strength of clean energy supply chains, one thing is becoming clear. China is no longer just catching up. It is now at the center of the global economic shift.